This is a game changer. Hey, welcome back. Today, I'm going to be sharing how to host an open house the right way. My name is Beth Shields. If we haven't met yet, I am a real estate agent and a real estate coach. And my goal is to share with you my tips and strategies on how I have built a successful business so you can build one as well. So how do you host an open house? I'll be sharing with you 6 tips on how to host a successful open house to bring you more leads and bring you more business. Tip number 1, it's very important. You might be wondering, how do I get an open house when I don't even have a listing? It's very easy. You're going to first reach out to other agents that you know or have built relationships with, or other agents in your office. Frequently, high-producing agents are unable to host open houses in all of the different listings. It's beneficial and helpful for them to have somebody ready, willing, and able to host the open house for them. And when you prove to be knowledgeable, provide good feedback, and responsive, they are more than happy to share their open house opportunities with you. So the first step is to find yourself an open house to host and start generating more business from. It's important you understand that the first person a buyer meets with typically will work with that agent. So we try to put you in these open house situations so you can be the first person that a potential buyer will be meeting, and then they will want to work with you. It's a great opportunity to connect and develop relationships with lots of different people that are outside of your normal sphere to continue to grow your sphere and generate more business. Tip number 2 is to make sure you have enough directional signs. I cannot stress enough to you how important this is. 5 is not enough. 10 is good. More is better. It is very frustrating for buyers and potential clients to be circling neighborhoods trying to find the open house, sticking one out by the street and one in front of the house. They're never going to find you. They get frustrated, they'll give up, and then they drive away. It also looks really good to the seller when you have directional signs everywhere inviting people into the home. This looks very, very good, and your name is everywhere. It's also really important that on your directional sign, not only are you putting your name, and obviously your company's branding and information is required, it's also important that you put your phone number, and then make sure you're putting the arrows, the directional arrows. That is imperative, and you'd think it'd be a simple thing to understand, but a lot of people don't do that. They just stick out a sign, one out by the street, and then they just pray people show up to their open house, and then they wonder why the traffic is slow. So remember to buy and supply enough directional open house signs so people can find you easily, which leads me to my 3rd tip. My 3rd tip is to make sure you knock on the neighbors' doors before you place a sign in their yard. This is beneficial for 2 reasons. The first one is it creates an opportunity for conversation. You can ask them, hey, do you mind if I'm sticking this sign for an open house down the street? I would love to have you stop by today. Is there anybody you might know that's interested in buying in the neighborhood, or anybody I might call to invite to the open house today? It is amazing the opportunities that await for you just by opening that conversation with the potential sellers, because everyone's a potential seller, right? The potential seller of that home, just by asking if you can put a directional sign in their yard. This also is just being respectful. You want to respect their land, their space, their property, and it just shows your professionalism. They will appreciate it and remember you. And I can assure you that if you keep in contact with them, you'll be the agent they'll be looking to have a conversation with, potentially to sell their home one day. My 4th tip is to make sure you educate yourself on not only the home, the bedrooms, the bathrooms, the square footage, any pertinent information that you're able to find, such as when the roof was replaced, how old the furnace and air conditioner are. These are all questions that everybody asks when they come into a home, and handing somebody an MLS sheet is not enough. We need to be super educated on the neighborhood and the surrounding areas. This is going to become even more important now as we are showing our value as potential buyers agents to our potential buyers. It's imperative you know what's available in new builds, you know what's active in the neighborhood and in surrounding areas, and it's important to know what's gone under contract and what is sold. So take the time before hosting these open houses to educate yourself on what's around. If you have the opportunity, go tour the new build up the street or in the same community to make sure you know what your competition is. It's also super important to make sure you know what is sold in that neighborhood. Is this house competitive with those, and what upgrades do you have in comparison to those other homes? These are all things to show your value to potential clients, and you seem like the knowledgeable, experienced agent you are by educating yourself to be able to answer questions as they come in. My fifth tip is to make sure you use a sign-in sheet or a sign-in book. Now, a lot of people will be like, well, that's a no-brainer, right? But what information are you asking for? Are you asking for their name, their address, their phone number, their email address? I can tell you right now, most potential buyers do not want to stand there and fill all of that information out. I keep it very simple with every single buyer that signs in at my open houses. I ask for their name, their phone number, and if they're working with a real estate agent. Those are the only 3 questions I ask. Now, other people may ask more questions, but I have a very good turnout of people who give me actual information and true, correct information. It's very easy for people to switch phone numbers or to, give you fake names, those kinds of things. I also make sure that at every open house, the same 2 buyers show up to every single open house for me. This is a psychological thing that is kind of funny. Nobody wants to be the first or second person to sign in to an open house, just like nobody wants to be the first person to tip in an empty tip jar. So I always have, the same 2 buyers sign in at every open house. And it looks like other people have already been to the open house. I know other agents that actually have a sign-in book, and that book goes to every single open house. And it looks like you've had 10 to 15 people come to your open house. It's really up to you on what works best for you. The biggest thing is to get their information and that very same day to follow up with them. I send a video thanking everybody via text of myself, thanking them for stopping by the open house, my name, and to please let me know if they have any questions. If they are working with a real estate agent, I tell them, thank you so much for stopping by my open house. I really enjoyed meeting you, and to please have their agent reach out to me. This is to make sure that we're abiding by all ethical guidelines, that we're not overstepping. My 6th tip for you is to make sure you door knock the neighborhood. I know this can seem intimidating or anxiety producing, but it is a great opportunity for you to meet the neighbors. I will create a small little postcard, and it will just tell people my information, the house that's for sale, and I will provide the open house information, and I hand it to every single person. You're not soliciting anybody, so even if it says no soliciting, you're not soliciting them. You're just inviting them to your open house. I make sure to do this around a surrounding area. I try to hit 100 homes. If you don't have the time to do that, shoot for 20 or 25. But the more, the better. The more connections you make, the more conversations you can have. And I do this a day or 2 in advance of the open house. I make sure to, if they're not home, I make sure to leave it in their door, making sure that they're invited. Or I try to have the conversation with the people and ask them if they know anybody that is interested in living in the neighborhood or anybody that you should call to invite to the open house. This is just creating relationships, communication, having conversation with people. And it really is showing your value of trying to sell the home in the neighborhood. And again, there's a lot of agents who don't do this, and they will be looking for somebody who is proactive and not reactive to sell their home when they're ready to sell. You're showing your value. My bonus tip today for you guys is to find an industry partner to invite to the open house to help support you. This person should be equally as motivated to help you sell that home as you are to sell that home. A great resource are lenders. Lenders can provide factual information about rates. Frequently, they'll have flyers and information that we actually aren't even allowed to provide. And they can answer questions which can help potential buyers be excited and motivated to purchase the home that you're doing the open house on. This is a great opportunity for you to strike while the iron is hot. If you like what you heard today, you'll definitely want to take a look at my blog. The link is in the description. You'll find lots of tips and tools and strategies there just to kind of help you become an even more successful real estate agent. Please like and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys soon.